Okay, lovely ladies, this is Tina Hull. I hope you're doing well. Happy New Year if I haven't been connected to you, and hope that your New Year season is going well. I've started an email campaign. So if you're on my list, fantastic. If you're not on my list and you'd like to be on my list, then let me know and I will add to the list. Generally speaking, I just email everybody once a week. And sorry, someone's trying to join. Just going to pause for it, Jennifer. Okay, sorry about that delay. So today we're going to be talking about sovereignty identity transmission. And I'm just going to give you a little background. So I was in a meditation and in my Akashic records, and I heard reign sovereign. And since that, things have transpired, and sovereignty is basically the theme of my life right now. And stepping into that sovereignty is owning who you are as you are meant to be. So we are all born with our gifts, with our passions, with our things that light us up, that we have desire, have a desire in our heart. It's meant for us. And so this has been the transition I've been going through for the last several months. And I know that mostly I've talked about healing your body, healing your mind with anxiety, healing from narcissistic relationships, and it all is part of that. And I don't want us just to survive. The other thing that came through for me very strongly was that um, I kept thinking, like, should I be creating something for young people so that the young people can possibly not even get into a narcissistic relationship because they're already sovereign. And then it became so clear to me that the way to do it is to heal the women who have gone through it or are going through it or may go through it if they don't do the work. So this is generational work for the past, the present, and the future. And I have two daughters, and their father is a narcissist, and I have no desire for them to have to go through what I went through. And they've seen what I've gone through, and in some ways, especially my oldest daughter has gone through some of it as well. So I just want to set the context for all of this. So my desire, very strong desire, my purpose is to help you move from the survival state and stages of your life, which show up in different ways. It can be a little sneaky. And so we're going to talk about being a dreamer, a fortress, an ice queen, a shapeshifter, an overachiever, or a perfectionist. Those are the six that I'm focusing on right now. Now, you may, if you haven't done the quiz, then let me know in the comments, put in the chat quiz, and I can send you the link to the quiz that will help give you some better understanding of yourself for that and which one you are. It's free. It's going to take you maybe 3 minutes to go through it. I've got some instructions because I did a test group and I got some feedback. And so it's definitely stronger than it was when I first gave it to the test group. So I encourage you to do that because it's kind of shocking on how insightful it is. Now, I didn't pull it out of my hat. I didn't create it out of a whim. I created it by looking at the science, the spirituality aspect of things, and the general consensus out there in the ethers. So it's a combination of things that are scientific and my basic understanding of it all. And so it'll give you some really good insight. And if the feedback that I'm getting from the actual quiz is that it's spot on. So just so you know, it's pretty incredible on and how these things show up in our lives and we're not even aware of it. So a lot of this, when I talk about and teach about, is to bring new awareness to you so that will help you grow, expand, evolve, and open your mind to new possibilities. Okay, so welcome. Thank you for being here, first of all and foremost. If you're in this space, you already know something profound about you. You're exceptionally good at building. You've built a career, a lifestyle, perhaps a family, a reputation. You know how to execute, to optimize, and to achieve. And yet, you might be sensing a quiet friction, a feeling that despite the external validation that everything outside is kind of working, probably not fully working because you're not quite aligned to the identity, the archetype that is healed. But the friction, it's a feeling that despite the external validation, you're still operating from a place of internal pressure that feels oddly familiar. So it's like you're running software that was instilled and installed generations ago. Today, we're talking about adding another tool to our productivity suite. We're talking about auditing the entire operating system. We're talking about the difference between achieving from a place of inherited survival and creating from a place of choosing sovereignty. The irony for high achievers is this: the very engine of your success, that drive, that vigilance, that perfectionism, might be the inherited pattern that is now blocking your next level. It will only take you so long because there's shadow bits to it. It's a coping mechanism. It's a way of us dealing and surviving through what we've gone through up until this point in time. Okay? So there is a level of ease, flow, and impact that feels sustainable and truly yours in that next level. So let me ask you a question. What if the goal isn't to become a better version of old you, but to become the architect of a completely new foundation? We're under this premise that we have to fix ourselves. There's something wrong with us. And I am talking from complete and utter experience on this. And the truth is they're not broken. What's happened is that as life has lifed us, we have gone through different experiences, different awarenesses, different perceptions through our childhood up until this point that has guided us, shown us, and instilled in us that something is wrong with us, and it's not the truth.
Yeah.
So we're born with certain things that are who we are, and the goal, in my opinion and my experience, is to shed and unremember all that was caked on us over the years. So we're getting rid of the crap, is basically how I see it. I see this woman, I've got this great diagram, and it's a woman who has plaster on her body, and she's taking a chisel and she's actually taking the clay off of her. That's how I see it. Then that's who the essence of who you are. This is your soul self that wanted to be here, that was born into this lifetime in the human body, and is now going to experience fullness, joy, and abundance, and bliss, and all things, because now she's completely free. And that is full and utter desire for all of us. And that's been the journey that I've been on for myself. So what are you going to walk away with? By the end of this transmission, you will identify your dominant survival identity, feel where it lives in your body, recognize how it shows up in relationships and your health, your leadership, seeing the generational pattern it came from, and softening and releasing, touching the sovereign archetype beneath it, and leaving you with a bodily knowing, not a concept, a knowing that this is who you're meant to be. Welcome those who are just joining us. If you can make sure that you're muted, I would appreciate that. So nothing needs to be fixed today. So we're going to take a nice deep breath. Everybody breathe from your belly. Feel your lungs expand, the upper chest expand. Hold it for a few seconds. And exhale. And you're going to bring in all the energies from your to-do list, from your list of things that you... Charlene, if you could mute... Oh, there we go. You're going to pull in all your energies from maybe an argument or something that's been on your mind quite a bit. And you're going to pull in all your energies from other people, places, and circumstances that have your attention and your time, and pull it all back. You can see them like stars. And just coming back into your energy, getting you nice and grounded. And I just wanted you to hear these words while you're breathing. This is not about learning something new. It's about remembering something ancient your body already knows. If you've done therapy, you've done journaling, you've read the book, yet something still repeats, it's not failure, it's a signal. Take a nice deep breath and feel that in your body. That's the truth. So identity doesn't live in the mind. It lives in the body, in the lineage, in the generations. Your nervous system didn't invent your survival strategy alone. It inherited it. So it could come from the will. It could come from past generations. If you believe in past lives, it could come from that as well. A lot of us were witches back in the day and still have the energy and the feelings of burning at the stake or being persecuted or judged, and have this fear of being seen because of it. So whatever the reason or the root of the why you identify the way you identify, that is, it's not really relevant in the respect of healing it, but there is an understanding that it does come from a place. It is not because there's anything wrong with you. So patterns repeat until someone has the capacity to interrupt them. Not by blaming the past, because the past is the past. We want to release and let that go. We want to learn the lessons as much as we possibly can and then just cut off the rest. It doesn't have to control us anymore. But by releasing the role that kept the family system functioning, this is how generational healing actually happens. Not by talking about ancestors, but by changing what the body believes it must carry. So a lot of these, again, it's been caked onto us over the years from the generations, from the past. And so we want to really tap into who we are meant to be, our soul selves. And I have the easiest guideline for that is if it feels good, it's connected to your soul. If it doesn't feel good, you're out of alignment with your soul self. It can be that simple. It's not always easy, but it can be that simple. So there was a moment in my own life after an argument with my ex where something stopped me cold. I just had this realization I wasn't reacting to him. I was inside a familiar emotional dance. The tone, the withdrawal, the justification, the self-betrayal. And it was in my parents' marriage, playing out through my body. And it was such a stark realization. I'm like, holy shit. I'm living my mom and dad's lives. And I knew it was then my responsibility to heal the generations. So my daughters don't go through it, their children don't go through it, and it can heal the lineage because they didn't know any better and they weren't going to be the ones to do it. So I took up the mantle. And in that moment, a thought landed that I don't just heal for myself. It was now my responsibility. And it was at a cellular level. And that's when I understood survival identities don't end with awareness. They end with embodied release. Sorry, give me a minute. I saw a message in the chat. Let's just check it out. Do I agree that sometimes feeling good, pleasure is confused with trauma? Explain, Heart. So feeling good can feel scary, but it's scary because of ego mind, because it's not your comfort zone. So chaos is our comfort zone. Drama is our comfort zone. Being upset, being frustrated, being angry, all those things are your comfort zone because that's what we grew up in. And ego mind doesn't care if it feels good or not. It just wants safe. And safe to them, to our ego minds, is what we grew up with. Isn't that a little bit of a mind F? It's kind of crazy. And it's just the way that we work. So we have to have that understanding. So pleasure is always a good thing. Now, obviously in balance. You don't want to be a sex addict and just chasing pleasure. You don't want to be not being in balance in the sense that you're chasing the next best thing or you're chasing fun all the time and you're not being responsible. Working lately and distinguishing between what is familiar and what is truly pleasure. Yeah. And you can just sit with yourself and just take some nice deep breaths, get yourself nice and grounded and ask your body, is this something that feels good or if it's something that's familiar? And you'll know the difference. You've got to trust your body. You'll know the difference. You will. I guarantee it. So we're going to start by doing an activation. We're going to meet your survival identity. So I'm going to get you to close your eyes. And recall a moment when something happened in your outside world and it caused you to contract, to fold in on yourself, to recoil, to get small. Just a response, not the actual story. And feel that in your body. Where does it tighten? And what role does the body step into? Is it an armor? Do you shut down? Do you try to people please? Do you try to overgive? How is it showing up? And ask, who do you become when you don't feel safe? You can journal this out now, or if you want to watch it again in the replay. Who do you become when you don't feel safe? Not what you do, who you become. Do you become the strong one? That was me. But I was also a peacekeeper. Are you an achiever, an invisible one, a controller, or a dreamer? And just ask your body which one. The strong one, peacekeeper, achiever, invisible one, controller, dreamer. Now notice if the role feels older than you. Who else carried this? Who needed you to be this way? And who was this identity protecting? And no, this role did not begin with you, and it does not need to end with your children. Take a nice deep breath and release that. Place your hand on your body where the identity lives. And in your mind, repeat after me. Thank you for keeping me alive. Thank you for protecting me. I am safe. You are safe to no longer be needed to run the system. And take a nice deep breath in and release that identity. And if this role softened just by 10%, who would you be underneath it all? That means Okay. Now, survival identities collapse when the sovereign archetype is felt, not imagined. So we have 6 of them: the archetype, the oracle, the alchemist, the beacon, the catalyst, and the sovereign. So whatever resonates for you, I'll say them again: the architect, the oracle, the alchemist, the beacon, the catalyst, and the sovereign. And I want you to notice, does your posture shift? Does your breath change? Can you feel that grounded authority within you? So this isn't a new identity. It's who you were born before survival took hold of you. Take a nice deep breath in again. How are you feeling? What we touched today doesn't require effort to maintain. Once the body recognizes safety, it doesn't unlearn it. This is why the transmission works. The alchemist and the beacon resonate. Yeah. So for those of you that are just joining us, if you would like to have the link for the quiz, then let me know. And this will make a little bit more sense if you haven't done the quiz already. So as I mentioned at the beginning, I created this using psychological, scientific, and spiritual workings so that it was going to be relevant and it was going to actually help. So once you do the quiz at the end, there is a deep dive. If you want, you can just do your tallies. And there's also a way to figure out which one you are. And then you can leave your email, and then I will send you the deep dive. If you feel like you're more than one of them, then usually it's because there's some deeper survival identities that have occurred. And there's an invitation if you would like to do a pattern mapping. And if you'd like that link, let me know. Big storm, Wi-Fi was out. Okay. Lisa, I don't see your response. I'll double check. But so what happened at the beginning when I was doing the quiz, I was putting it together, and in my enthusiasm, and it's my unprofessional fault, is I put it out there without really testing it and going through it. And I made some changes and some upgrades. And those changes and upgrades, I didn't realize that there needed to be specific wording for the third section to come up after the actual questions. So a lot of responses did not get taken up. So I apologize. So I will send you the upgraded version, which I do know works now. If you wouldn't mind actually filling it out again, so I can send you the deep dives, because it also has 3 different ways of helping you transition from. Okay, well, I'll check for you, Misa, but I didn't see it yesterday, so maybe it's come in today. But so the deep dives have 3 different exercises that can help you step into that identity, that archetype that is not in survival, and that's going to allow you to step into who you are. Okay. Okay. Yeah, because I did get an email after when I filled it out. So yeah, it's a good sign that it probably didn't work. Sorry. My bad. It'll take you 3 minutes. It's not very long. So what we did today was a global release. It's powerful but not precise. For women who are ready to fully survive, release these survival identities, integrate your sovereign archetype, stop repeating relational, emotional, or health problems. This next step is the sovereign identity mapping. So this is where we sit down for an hour and we map out the identity, your specific archetypal pattern, and locate it where it's in the body, if you didn't feel it today, and determine whether you are interested in moving forward. I have a 3-session intensive that has been amazing, and it's really it's made life easier for those who have done it, and they're shifting out of the old survival habits and techniques almost on a daily basis, which is pretty exciting. So the intensive is, there's going to be 3 sessions. You do the quiz, we discuss the quiz, your shadow plus the archetype, and then we come together for a session, and I release a lot of in your Akashic records. We release your the shadow and the survival identities, and all the different habits, patterns, stories, beliefs, and then anything that comes up during our discussion, I write all those down and we release those. And then we come together a week later so you can have time to integrate it. And then after that week, we do the rebalancing and rewiring in the mind, which has been phenomenal. And my clients who have done it have said it's something they've wanted and didn't know they needed. So it's had really great reviews. And then after that time frame, a month later, we get together with you journaling the whole time, your workings, and really paying attention. This is the key for a lot of us, which we don't fully understand, and maybe I didn't even fully understand until this past year, really, is there has to be a conscious decision that not every waking moment, but on a regular basis, that we are checking in with ourselves and paying attention to our thoughts, our stories, our beliefs, who we're seeing ourselves as. In the moment, you could just simply ask yourself, who am I being? Am I being the dreamer or the fortress or the ice queen or the shapeshifter or the overachiever or the perfectionist? Okay, Misa, let me just double check for you so that I'm not making extra work for you, so that if I find your answers, then you don't have to worry. So, and then we go through all of that and we remove it out. and then you come back at a month's time to see the progress. So that's the intensive, if that interests you. That is not free. That is $997. This is my goal is to change your identity from survival to sovereign within that month's time. And this was downloaded to me from the divine. So I believe it works because it wouldn't be given to me if it wasn't. So you don't need to decide anything right now. If you want the mind pattern mapping and that's free for an hour, you're welcome to do it. I do ask you, please, don't do it as a lark. Do it because you're really, truly interested. I'm donating my time, my energy, and my knowledge and wisdom to this. And I want you to actually do the work so that you're getting something out of it, not just because it sounds nice and sounds good. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just I'm really in this space where no problem, Anna, we'll pick it up later. So I'm just in this space where I know who I want to help, and I want to help people that want help. I there's nothing else to say. So if you have any questions, please is a good time for you to ask them. And otherwise, if you are complete, then you're welcome to leave. Sorry, there was a few things that came through. Filled up most the mapping session, but when I went back to it to complete it, all my previous answers were erased. Oh dear. Okay. Well, you're welcome to do it again, Jennifer. I think it's more fine-tuned now. So, and that will help with the end part where you're filling in the blanks of all the different attributes that you find yourself. Okay, means I will check it. Michelle's saying it works. She tried it on me and it really works. Hey. Misa's the adaptive survivor. Okay. So Misa, did you put in there, Tina, I'd like to do the mapping? Because it didn't relate to anybody. So I was like, I have no idea who this is. So I'm gonna have to figure out how to put an email in there. But if that's you, then I've got your answers and we will book a mapping session for sure if you're interested. So cool. So if you have any questions, ladies, then please don't hesitate. Put it in here. You've got me for another 10 minutes. Take advantage. So we want to really know, and one of my mentors said this so beautifully. Okay. So what one of my mentors said to me was that we are all born with a seed. We are like an oak tree that comes from a seed planted in the soil. The soil is our life, our environment, people, places, circumstances, things that surround us. And in that seed, we root and we expand and we grow and we become from a baby to a child to an adolescent to a young adult to an adult. And that environment is part of who we are. And now our job is to unremember a lot of it because it was also filtered through a child mind. the perspective also was filtered through that child mind. And it doesn't mean that the perception and the belief that came out of it is true. But then what happens as we get older is that we then start to look for evidence. This is part of our brain. We look for evidence that it's right or it's wrong or it's reinforced. So if it becomes reinforced that that belief is, I'm not worthy, I'm not deserving, I'm not good enough, then we find evidence outside of us from the outside world to reinforce it. And then that belief becomes a habit of, or the habit of thought becomes a belief. And it gets locked in at the subconscious mind. And the subconscious mind is what's running our show. This is why it's so important to shift out of that old identity and that survival pattern so that we can start stepping into truth of who we are. Because the oak tree stands strong. There might have been some root rot somewhere along the way, and the roots just literally rot. But the rest of the roots will continue to go into the soil and get nourished and continue to thrive. So we want to thrive, not just survive. That's my mission for myself and for anybody else who wants to come along for the ride. So if you have any questions, please don't hesitate. We've got 5 more minutes. No questions? Okay. Thank you for joining me. Have a blessed day. And know that this could have been enough to be the turning point for you. Things don't have to be hard. They don't have to be a struggle. They don't have to take forever. These are stories that we tell ourselves, misconceptions that we've gotten along the years, or it's been our experience. And if you've been in therapy for a number of years, please sit with yourself and ask yourself if it's still what you need. Maybe you need to move to a different therapist. I have been in the industry for 30 years, and I'm able to get my clients out of pain and healed within a very short period of time because it is my strong belief and knowing that it can happen. So if it can happen for my clients, it can happen for you too. It doesn't have to take forever and a day. And if you don't believe it, you can piggyback off on my belief until you start to believe it. And with that said, have a blessed afternoon, and we'll talk to you soon. And Misa, I'll get you that link. And I think Anna wanted the link for the quiz. So if you haven't done the quiz and you want to, then also let me know. Have a blessed day, ladies. Thanks for joining me.